Okay, so welcome back. And in this video, we're going to look through thoughts and feelings. Now, obviously, these are two things that you're going to want to incorporate into your written work, particularly into your creative writing, your descriptive writing, and your narrative writing as well. So let's have a look first of all at the topic of thoughts. So as you're writing, you will want to incorporate different comments related to what the character or even yourself, if it's first person narrative, is thinking at that particular point. And it's worth just looking over the different types, styles of thoughts that you might wish to incorporate. So first off, on the left hand side here, we've got two fairly simple styles of thinking, one of which is observation on the left hand side here. That's just simply seeing, observing what is around you. This is kind of low level thought process, but obviously it's the key to everything else. It's collecting the data. And memory is basically obviously just looking backwards, a memory trace, thinking about the past. Obviously it's absolutely crucial to our sense of self and many other things as well, our practical ability to survive. These would be fairly simple kind of levels to your thought process, those first two over there. And now link to memory, I'll draw that with a red line there because it is an important link, is reflection. Reflection is essentially memory plus analysis. That's what reflection is. So there's a memory, but there's also a secondary process going on, meditation, analysis, thinking about what went wrong, what went well, thinking about the significance of the memory itself. So reflection is a kind of higher level thought process, and it's similar with observation and abstraction as well. So observation is collecting the data, and then abstraction basically means drawing out meaning. So as human beings, we are meaning generating machines. There's no other animal, no other living thing now or ever that's had the human being's capability for abstraction, for abstract thought. And so this is something that allows us to do just almost an infinite number of things. We're not just confined to the basic kind of thought process of dealing with our immediate physical surroundings. We're able to abstract and draw much deeper meanings from the observations and from the incoming information. In a sense, linked to abstraction on the right hand side here is imagining. Obviously the power of imagination, again, of human beings is something that's really quite spectacular. We're able to imagine completely fabricated scenarios, but we're also able to imagine the future as well, which is absolutely crucial. So imagining can be obviously invented, but it can also be this kind of hypothetical thinking, future-oriented thinking. So anytime you're thinking about the future, by definition, it's an act of imagination. The future is not here yet, it doesn't exist. So anytime we think about it, it's an act of the imagination. So obviously this is something we do very naturally, but it's still a category of thought. Next up here is introspection. I'm going to circle this because I think this is a really important one in relation to literature and kind of developing character. So introspection is the process of looking inwards, looking at your own thoughts, your own reflexes, your own feelings. And I think literature, probably more than any other form, and literature and the written word more than any other art form really allows us to go very deeply into this process of introspection. Now, we've talked about empathy in another video, seeing things from someone else's point of view, and having their thought process, their introspective processes presented to us. That's the thing that really allows us to actually be empathetic. So introspection is hugely important, and certainly you're going to want to incorporate it into your own descriptions, your own written work. Okay, so moving down to the bottom here, we've got categorization. Again, this is almost, I've heard it described as the basis of cognition. I'm not sure if that's 100% correct, but it's certainly fundamental to human thinking, human thought process. It's our ability to put things into categories, to group things together, and to fit new items of information into an existing category, or maybe even develop a new category. So categorization is really important. You could call it stereotyping. A stereotype is Okay, and moving on to the bottom right hand side here, calculation. This is what we call deductive reasoning, meaning we proceed from one premise, one starting point, and we logically end at a conclusion. A calculation should obviously be clean. Shouldn't really be room for random external details to cloud things. Calculation is a very clean form of thinking, and this is obviously linked to our kind of rational mind. So as I mentioned when we discussed planning, there's the kind of two sides to the mind really. We've got the left brain here, calculation, deductive, rational reasoning and thought process, and then we've also got the right brain over here, the imaginative side, the side that kind of comes up with something creative, has the ability to look into the future and to imagine different scenarios. And actually we all possess both of these faculties of thought. And so these are some of the thought processes you may wish to incorporate into your own writing. Certainly you'll wish to recognize them when it comes to actually doing a comprehension piece. You want to be able to recognize, okay, at this point the author is really calculating the situation. At this point he's imagining, or she's imagining, how things are going to play out. In the early stages of the extract we just have simple observation. There's all these different ways you can use the words on this page, this terminology here. So do familiarize yourself with this, and as I say, it's useful for both creative writing but also for more analytical writing as well. Okay, so we will move on. Let's look now at feelings. So this is obviously the emotional element to your writing, and we're going to have a look here, just a few different feelings you may want to incorporate into your work. Do go over to the text guide and take a look at the feelings wheel. There's a very detailed diagram which has many more shades of possible feelings incorporated into it. So do go over and take a look at that. You should really have a good vocab when it comes to feelings, because that's going to allow you to be more precise and more nuanced in the way you describe things. So let's just go through a few of them here. We've got up here joy and inspiration. Okay, these great positive feelings. On the right hand side here, almost the opposite, despair, failure, shame. Shame is a little bit more of a social kind of sentiment. It's your own ideas and feelings about how other people view you, and that's the idea of feeling ashamed. So due to something you've done or some type of failure, you get this sense of shame. Next, on the bottom right hand corner here, engaged, enthralled, fascinated. This is that feeling of being just really taken in by something and just completely focused on it. So these are good words that you could use for that that feeling. Okay, so next up here is anger and irritability. We all know what that feels like. Kind of comes in waves over people, and obviously that will be one you might incorporate into a descriptive piece or a narrative piece. Stunned, overcome, amazed. I would also put as well awestruck down here. This is that feeling of just being in total awe, being totally amazed and almost stopping in your tracks at something, perhaps something of great beauty that you might see. Next up, fear, panic, anxiety. Okay, these are feelings of unpleasant feelings, really, of fear, panic, high heart rate, tension, all of these types of things. And then on the top left hand side here, excitement and anticipation. So anticipation is obviously looking forward to something. Okay, so whenever you're incorporating a character, a person, into your writing, you're going to want to draw upon thoughts and feelings. So even if this is in the first person, you're doing a descriptive piece in the first person, you would want to incorporate thoughts and feelings into your written work. And so we're going to have a quick go at this exercise now. Think back to a memorable experience. Describe your thoughts and feelings as the events unfolded. So we could actually go back to the previous exercise where we were thinking about travel, and we could just go back and think about thoughts and feelings in relation to travel. So let's have a go at that exercise now. Just spend 5 or 6 minutes thinking back to that travel experience. Hopefully you have the descriptive piece there. You should have done that by now. Now I want you to have a look at writing your thoughts and feelings as the events unfolded. So maybe take a look at the feelings wheel as well before you do this exercise, and just spend 7 or 8 minutes working on this. Okay, so hopefully that was a useful exercise for you. You should be getting a sense of how these different strategies can actually work together. The descriptive strategy that we looked at in the last video, and also incorporating thoughts and feelings as we discussed in this video, we can actually merge those together, mix them together, and they're going to work really well to create a really nice descriptive piece for us. Okay, so these 2 videos have been really based around description. The next video we're going to look at creating a narrative, how to build an interesting narrative, and 1 or 2 strategies we can use to do that.